Well, welcome everyone. And it's good to feel you all back because it's good for you to see me. I hope so. I can't see you, but we're here again. We awake and we are waking up, and that's what we're here to do. And we're going to do tier 3, track 2 of PMP 3.0. That's a lot of numbers, but anyway, and yeah, the third tier of this, I mean, second tier is 2, but when you get into the third tier, it starts to really get powerful. So this is not for, how can I say this politely? Wimps, is that a polite word? Anyway, yeah, this is, heavy lifting, if you will. So, which is good because sometimes we definitely need that. But when I really need, I need an extra push in my meditation and practice, this is one of the places that I go to in our ever expanding library of transformational tools at WeAwake. So a little about what we're doing here and why we're doing it. Okay, so going back basically to my education in transpersonal psychology, which is where Pam and I met in grad school in the Bay Area back in the late 80s and early 90s. And I think it was Abraham Maslow, but one of the great forces in 20th century psychology. And I think he was the one of the main people behind the idea of humanistic psychology, making I don't know, a little more client-centric, a little more positive view than was coming out of strict Freudian psychology or behaviorism, whatever else was running around at that time. It's a really quite a step forward in the field of psychology. And then later on, he even coined the word transpersonal psychology, which was an extension of humanistic. However, they said that the more that we work with human beings, the deeper we go, the more we're finding it's not just the individual ego self that we're dealing with. There's something bigger. Okay, that's what all the wisdom traditions and the shamans and the spiritual greats throughout cultures and history and time have been talking about. So they came up with the name transpersonal. It means to transcend the personal. It doesn't eliminate the personal, but it transcends it and makes it a part of something infinitely larger and vast and incredibly interconnected. So there's 2 things that we're working on here, and WeAwake tools are tools for transformation. Okay. And they don't do the whole job. It's like Dalai Lama said, he says, I wish I could just take a pill and it would just fix me so I didn't have to meditate so much, and Dalai Lama said this. And yeah, I agree, Dalai. Anyway, but we still have to do it. However, the tools help a lot. Okay, they really do, and they speed up. I mean, I was kind of pals with Bill Harris of Holosync fame back when he was still alive, and he said that he thought that the Holosync, that technology would speed up the growth process among individuals times 7 or times 8 around those. That number. And that's just huge. Can you imagine if you took a pill and you wanted to get back in shape and you're all out of shape and I don't know, or you did something that would make it go 7 times faster? It's phenomenal. Okay. And maybe with WeAwake, I don't know, it's hard to say with hard data, but just intuitively, we think the technology is even more powerful than it was at that generation that Bill helped pioneer. And so what are we doing here? What are we trying to achieve? Well, there's 2 things. Go back to my days of still a student of transpersonal psychology. Let's say the 2 basic things that we're trying to accomplish in meditation and inner work and work on ourselves. Okay, and meditation is just part of a whole integral thing that we have to do if we want to self-actualize, and that means to become the best version of ourselves. Like the old U.S. Army advertising campaign: "Be all you can be. Be that which is your potential to become," which is incredible, and it's just like, Jesus said it was like a mustard seed, the littlest seed, and grows into this huge tree. I mean, that's kind of how dramatic it is when we start fulfilling our potential. And I heard about a family member today that I really do care about, a young man who is really smart, really talented, and he's just kind of smoking his life away. and he's not motivated, and he's probably achieved, conquered the universe in his computer games at some really high level and accomplished absolutely nothing, and not to be what you can be at whatever age you're at is a great tragedy, and especially for young people. And I think Jordan Peterson has been a voice for lost young, directionless men in the last, I don't know, 5 years, how long Jordan's been around. But anyway, I really respect that about him. And of course, it's not just for young men, but we all need to do that. And so that's what we're working on. And by doing this interior work, we are working through our stuff, becoming aware of our stories and our unconscious motivations that we got from our culture, from our family, or from somewhere, from our wounds that keep us back, that tell us we're not good enough, it's not smart enough, there's no hope, oh, it's whatever, it doesn't make any difference. Whatever those things are, we can become aware of them and we can let them go. And a lot of times they're just running us, from the subconscious, the unconscious mind. And anyway, all sorts of things happen, and we're actually improving the function of the brain. We start getting in touch with the kind of the wisdom, intuitive voice that's inside of us, our own inner sage that can tell us about what we're supposed to be doing with our lives and our relationships and all of these things that are very, very important for us to discover to be fulfilled human beings. Okay, so that's called self-actualization. And the other thing that we are working on, as Lama Surya Das, a Buddhist teacher, one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, he said that, do you want to become a Buddhist or be a Buddha? Right? I'm not going to be a Buddha, thank you very much. In other words, what does Buddha mean? It means an awakened one. So do you want to wear all the cool costumes and go through all the stuff and then I'm a Buddhist, get all proud about it, even though you're not supposed to have a self that gets proud? Or do you want to wake up? Yeah, so I would say the thing would wake up. And I believe that if we use these technologies and we meditate and we make a practice, it won't guarantee it, but it will increase the likelihood of our awakening, okay, to realize what we truly are, always have been, always will be, beyond time, etc. All those things that are described in the awakening experience when the Buddha was under the Bodhi tree doing his vision quest there. And that's been going on throughout history. And it used to be that maybe only a few people, each generation of humanity, could actually achieve that kind of awakening. And the rest of us would build temples around them or churches to them, or, worship their bones or whatever, how we honored that. But now it seems that we've learned a lot about what it takes and the technology and the human brain and the tools and the dedication and what works and what doesn't work, so we don't have to make a lot of mistakes that we've made in the past. We will make new mistakes, but at least the mistakes are we're headed in the right direction. So that's what we're here to do, is to work on ourselves, bring our hearts together to become the people that we can be individually, to become the communities that we can be collectively, and realize who and what we are. And when we discover that, there is great joy in that finding, there is great peace, and there is great sense of, aha, it really is all okay. Pretty good stuff. So without further ado, this is level 3, track 2 of PMP 3.0, and it's pretty powerful. So strap on your seatbelt and go inside, and let's get ready to rock this thing together. That was good. It was good. Thank you for sharing that with us. And yeah, it's meditation is a practice, and practice infers that you're actually doing something in order to get better at something. If you're practicing piano, you want to become a better piano player. If you're practicing typing, I'm talking about things probably I need to work on. There's things you can do. If it's ballet or it's martial arts or music or whatever. And yeah, I at some point I learned the key of practice. And I think when I was young, growing up and involved in athletics, my perception of myself was I wasn't the most naturally gifted athlete. And I had friends who really were, they were fast and they were nimble and they were just really good. And I just, no, I'm fair to middling, and and that was being charitable to myself. But I learned if I really, really worked hard at it, I could do really well, and be accepted, instead of the kid that, when they're picking teams in the playground, like nobody wants you and you're like that, to the point, yeah, well, thank you. You're a contributor. Team is better with you as a member. So I learned about hard work and really pushing myself hard. And when I joined the Army, the U.S. Army, I had just coming out of about an 8 or 9 year cult experience. You might say that's the frying pan into the fire, joining the Army, but U.S. Army is not a cult. It's just an army, and it was, as hard as it was, and the training that I went through and everything, it was so much easier than being in a cult, because they were just training my mind. They weren't trying to control my mind. They weren't trying to take my soul. It's a very different experience. But again, I felt really insecure about my own capacity. So I worked really hard to be a good soldier, and I was a good soldier. I was like, oh, okay. So little by little, with the successes of that, I went to university after I got out of the Army, having been a high school dropped out in the 9th grade, and went to a university, and I was like, oh my God. So I studied really hard and I did really well. So there's a repetitive lesson here. When we moved to Louisiana, where we're here helping care for my mother-in-law, Pam's aging mother, we thought I don't know what we thought, but anyway, we've been here over 3 years. So she keeps on kicking and we keep on being here a lot. So most of the time, but we bought our own place here. And that's right across the street from a tennis club and gym, which is probably why I bought it. I'm so used to living in the middle of nowhere, and workout facilities are just like, if you have them, they're extraordinary. It's a real gift. And so that's what I did. And I started taking tennis lessons. And 30 years, I'd played tennis my own way, just kind of watching TV occasionally and seeing guys and say, okay, you got to throw the ball up and hit it, get in that box or whatever it was. And oh my God, I was functional at my, that level. But I said, no, I don't want to do it anymore. So I deconstructed my whole tennis game. And I was horrible for about 1.5 years. And when we go to play, my blessed wife, she would let me serve as many times as I needed just to get the ball in, because I was, pronating and trying to do an actual tennis serve. And it went from just completely being horrible and very inadequate to being, it finally got to the point where I've made some real improvements. It's gotten a lot better. And all the work and all the kind of humiliation of being the beginner and starting from square one has paid off. So all that to say, it's okay to be a beginner. If meditation is new to you, or if exercise is new to you, or if struggling to read great works of literature and science and philosophy, that's hard. Well, it's going to be hard, but it's going to get easier. It's going to get more fun and more rewarding as you keep it up. So just encouraging everyone to realize the practice is, as meditation is something we're practicing to become more what? We're practicing to become more self-actualized, we're self-realized, more spiritual, more in the sweet spot of our own personal individual existence, what developing our connection with our soul so we can do the soul motivated work that we're here to do, and finding that place. And it's just hugely rewarding and essential for human health, psychological, spiritual, emotional, and happiness, and ultimately peace in this existence. No matter how hard it gets, we find that spot. So I could say a lot more, but blessedly I won't. And anyway, thank you Heidi and Vanessa and Rex and everyone else that's out there, and thank you for the really sweet words that, you know, or the feedback that we get. Also, I'm beginning a practice group, integral recovery practice group on integral life. It's just kind of starting up. So if you guys are members of Integral Life, yeah, come and join us there. And if you're not, do it. It's definitely worth it. You know, it's one of those, at least for me, when I paid my membership fees, it's a membership thing. It was like, oh, this is such a bargain for so much I was getting. So anyway, we're here, we're doing our thing, we're coming through these crazy times, and it seems like we are making some progress. And but it's been quite a bumpy road. So let's keep hanging in there and having hope and confidence that we're here for a reason, and if we haven't figured it out, that we're on the road to find out, as Cat Stevens sang so long ago. So anyway, that's it for now, but thank you for being here, and keep practicing to become your best self and your truest self. Thank you.